Hi, everyone, and welcome to Software Success. I'm Ashley Jones from Dime by OESD, and as always, I'm super excited to be here with you talking all things Dime software with all of you and answering your questions as well. So, I expect we're going to have a huge crowd today because our software that we are talking about in the Hoop Designer is a very popular program. So, I want to give everybody a few minutes to join in and say hi, say where you're watching from. I see lots of familiar names over there. But I just want to mention if you are new here to Software Success, we have Software Success live on our Facebook page and our YouTube page twice a month. The first and the third Tuesday of each month. And I talk about all of our different embroidery software. A lot of times I'm using features from several of them. And as we release a new one, which we have done within the Hoop Designer, I like to have a program that is just specifically on the features of that program so that you guys can kind of get the idea of what capabilities it has, what features are included, and what kind of things you can do with that program. So at Software Success, we like to make sure that we answer all your questions so that you can get really comfortable with your software and use it to its fullest. I love my software and I could not live my embroidery life without it. It is a staple in my studio. And I want you guys to be able to use it in that way as well. It can help you with so many different things. And the more you learn about it, the more you can do with it and the more that it can help you. So it really is a great tool that can broaden your embroidery horizon. So I think we've got lots of people already here, and I am seeing people that I recognize. I see some new names too. So welcome, everyone. So Jan Jeffers from California, thanks for being here. So Marianne, thanks for being here as always. So Shirley, so good to see you as well. Shirley says she's from Alabama. Thanks for being here. From Linda Johnson. I know Linda Johnson's in the Texas area, so thanks for being here, Linda, as well. Laurie Albrecht, you guys know her. She's part of our education team. So Georgia Allen, that is a super cool spelling for Georgia, if I said that right. And so I love that, from Michigan. Thanks for being here, Georgia. Catherine, always good to see you as well, from Colorado. And Reen is here. And so you guys know Reen from Embroidery Garden. And their In the Hoop software that we're talking about today, In the Hoop Designer, was a collaboration with Reen. And I'll tell you more about that as we get started. So thanks for being here, Laura. Always good to see you. Kathy from Kansas, and Phil Key from Tennessee. Deborah from Alabama, again, thanks for being here. Caroline Booth, always good to see you. And Dawn from Creative Applique, thanks for all joining. Tons of people here. Roz, hey, my friend from Washington State, thanks for being here, Roz. So good to see your name on the screen there. So lots of people. I'm so excited, which I knew because this has been a very popular software program. So our In the Hoop Designer has really got off to a great start, as it should, because it is super simple to use. So hey, Linda Brooks. So Linda saying hey to Ann Philbeck too. So hey Ann as well. So my friend Bet, thanks for being here, Bet. I think it's somebody's birthday. Bet, happy birthday as well. So good to see you here also. Melissa and Nina Miller. So good to see all of you guys. So thank you, and welcome to our Software Success. As I get started, if you have questions, make sure you're asking over there in the chat. I know we'll have tons of people viewing today because In the Hoop Designer software has been so popular. So if you are asking me a question, if you'll put several question marks before you start typing the actual question, that'll just help me pick it out of the chat. So make your comments. And if you have something that is a question, start it with the question mark and I can pick it out of the chat easily because I do like to make sure you get all your questions answered. So, okay. So today we're talking about In the Hoop Designer software. So this program I'm doing getting started with your In the Hoop Designer software. I suspect the majority of you own this program and want to know what you can do with it. So I'm going to start with the very basics, getting started using the In the Hoop Project Wizard. And if you do not have this software and you're just wondering what in the world can it do, this is also a great program for you to be able to see, because we are starting at the very basics, the most simple and the easiest way to use your In the Hoop Designer software. And we're going to be talking about customizing the creations that are in the wizard. You can customize by changing the text, changing the design, importing your own design, and also changing the quilting style as well, and resizing if you want. So we're going to be seeing all of those things for the In the Hoop Designer. But before we get started with that topic, I want to share with you a huge update that happened yesterday, specifically for our Mac users, but PC users probably saw a change in your software as well. And I'll show you exactly what that is. But let's open up my Mac screen here. And I just wanted to show you what changed with your Mac software. So this is my Mac computer that I'm on here. And I wanted to point out that now when you install Embroidery Toolshed, it is native on your Mac computer. And you will know that you have this version when you look at your screen. You can see up here in the very top hand part, we use that toolbar that everybody that is a Mac user recognizes instead of it being part of our software. So if you are a Mac user and you have not yet done this update, then visit our Facebook page, and there is a link to download the translator, or not the translator, I'm sorry, to download the native Mac version. You can install it and yours will look like this. So you no longer need that dime translator. Another thing that has been updated that is new for both Mac users and PC, over in your shopping cart area in the lower right, we have organized the software into categories so that it just makes it easier to find those different programs and see what they're all about. So our core programs here are kind of like our digitizing, editing, viewing programs. And then we have several that are quilting specific. And we also have specialty programs, and that's a lot of what we have. So we've got those on the list. And you can also purchase these font packs as well. Some of our programs have these font packs already included. But if you don't, like for instance, if you have Embroidery Toolshed Plus and you wanted to purchase the micro fonts, the micro font pack could be purchased separately and installed in your Embroidery Toolshed Plus to give you micro font options. So this is just a new way that it's organized, just to make it easier to identify the programs, see them over in that shopping cart or purchases tab. So just want to show you that really quickly. So if you are a Mac user and you haven't done that update, you're going to need to download the PKG file and then do that install. And we've got instructions for all of that also on our website. So, okay, let's head back over to the PC side of things. And then that's the one that I'm sharing today. That's the one that I use the most because I have it set up for sharing. And so I use my PC the most, but I certainly use my Mac from time to time too. So, okay, so let's learn more about In the Hoop Designer software. So as I mentioned, this was a collaboration with Reen Wilcoxon of Embroidery Gardens. You guys probably are familiar with Reen already. I referred to her as the queen of In the Hoop embroidery design. So that was kind of her our first love. That's kind of where she started, and she has really made some amazing projects that you can stitch in the hoop. And she is very creative about how to get these designs done in one hooping when possible. So what she has done is she's worked with Dime, and we have included hundreds of her projects already ready to stitch inside of In the Hoop Designer. But because they're inside of this program and she's created them with our native format, they are able to be customized really easily through a wizard that guides you step by step on adding your text, customizing the design that's on here, but also setting a different size as well. So customizing these projects can be done with built-in designs, and there's thousands of built-in fonts or thousands of built-in designs, and we also have quite a few fonts, and you can use TrueType text as well. But you can also customize with designs that you own, maybe from OESD or another designer as well. So it makes it really simple, and she put her heart and soul into making this as simple as possible. Now here, this is a wonderful pile of In the Hoop projects that have been created with this software. And all of these things can be reproduced by you, but you can add your own custom saying and design, and you can also resize them to different sizes that you need for whatever you're working with. Maybe you're trying to fit a certain type of hanger, or maybe you're trying to fit a tray. I know that Reen does that with her mug rugs, making it fit into like a little wooden tray. Whatever purpose you need for resizing, you certainly can do that with In the Hoop Designer. So let's head over and get started and see what all we have in this fun program here. So, okay, so I'm just going to reiterate. So I'm now in my my PC on my computer, and down here in my purchases tab, you can see that I also, even on PC, these are organized in these categories now. So it just makes it easier for you to use your software, locate those different pieces, seeing what they all do. If you do not own this program and you click the specialty option, you can try that program by clicking this ellipsis option. Now, if I click it, I have I don't have the option to try because I own it, because that's what the check mark lets me do. But you have the option to try this software program, and it will put it in a trial mode so you can play around with it. You just won't be able to save your design. Something else I'd like to point out is over here in the shopping cart, the purchases tab, you can also click next to any of the software and see the manual. So I'm going to open up the manual because I also wanted to point out that there is an appendix section. We are in the process of updating all of our user manuals for all of our Dime software. And so in the meantime, while we are updating it, we added to the appendix section, I'm going to scroll all the way down, what you need to know about the Mac software. So if you are using Mac and you want to make sure that you've got your details correct, so you can scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you can see the details about the Mac. So here are the instructions for installing that new Mac version. And also in Perfect Stitch Viewer, it gives you the instructions for how to use Perfect Stitch Viewer on your Mac natively. So you can check out that. It's at the bottom of each of the instructions. We've also included, if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, we've also included shortcut keys. This is a question that I get asked quite often. So the shortcuts are now part of each of the manuals. Okay, so check out your user manual. These are your shortcuts for Mac. And the shortcuts for PC are just a few pages above that, right at the end of the format. So here are the shortcuts for PC. So we've got PC shortcuts and Mac shortcuts. They generally are similar, but except you exchange the command key on Mac versus the control key on Windows. But that was something that's been asked for that we added to the user manual as well. So check that out. The user manuals are great resources to help you learn your software. So, and I don't want to fill out a survey. So, okay. So now back to In the Hoop Designer, now that we've seen that. Anytime Dime creates a specialty program, you always want to check out these first few icons because those are usually what is new or what is unique to that software. And I'm going to start here with this wizard. Okay. So the easiest way to get started with your In the Hoop Designer software is to use the wizard. So I'm going to click the wizard hat and it will open up the wizard for me. And then basically, I just want to answer these questions. So if I start first with the open a template, I'm going to click the open icon. And then each one of these designs that are built into here, we can customize with our particular saying, our particular text, name, design. And you can just choose the one that you want and then make the edits on the screen. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Let's start with a mug rug. That's a really good one to resize here. So I'm gonna select the mug rug option here, and let's choose this little one here that says "Be Flamazing." I'm gonna say okay. And I can change both the design and the text. So notice the next step here that's highlighted actually right here is the size. So after we open it, we can set the size. So it comes in to fit in a 5x7 hoop. That's kind of the standard size for the mug rugs from Reen of Embroidery Garden. So she has set that starting size. So you actually can just stitch this just as is without changing any of these settings if you want. If you want to change the design, you would click the library option to choose a built-in design or the custom to use a design that's outside the software, and then you can customize your text. And then you're also going to get instructions for stitching this out. So I'm going to click on the instructions. It will open up in my browser a PDF set of instructions that shows you exactly how to stitch this out. Okay. So, I mean, it couldn't really be any easier, right? And so I love that. And then you would just click OK. Now, I'm going to leave this as is because this is the easiest way to use the software. So first, click the template, select your design, and if you just click OK, it adds it to the workspace. This is a ready to stitch out file. You actually don't have to make any changes if you don't want to. So if you want to stitch this just as it is, I'm going to turn my grid off. That just gets a little distracting. You can save this file to the machine format type that you need by going to File, Save As, and then you can choose the location on your computer wherever you want to save it. So maybe that's a USB stick if you have one, or if you have a folder that you want to save it in, you choose the location, you give it a name, and I would call this my mug rug. Choose your embroidery machine format. This is very important. If you leave it in the C2S, your embroidery machine cannot read that format. That's the native format. So choose the format for your embroidery machine, whatever it might be, and click Save. Now that design is saved on my computer. I can take it to my embroidery machine and follow those instructions to stitch it out. If you have a brother or a baby lock embroidery machine that is wireless capable, except for the Avenir and the Radiance. We're still working on that, but you can send wirelessly to those machines by clicking the send to machine option. So that's two ways to get that to your embroidery machine. Okay. So now through the wizard, you can select a design, read the instructions, and then just save it. It's ready to go. Okay. So now let's go back to the wizard. And this time we're going to make some edits. Okay. So I'm going to click open. And for this one, let's choose a different design. So maybe we want the Hello Spring, maybe. And we want to change this to say something different. So instead of Hello Spring, maybe we want it to say Hello Summer, because that is coming right at us, right? And so hello summer, and then I click apply, and you can see it changes it on the screen. And instead of the bumblebee, maybe we want something different. So if I click on my library icon, it's going to open up the built-in designs, and there are thousands of built-in designs here. So you can choose from all of these different built-in categories here. I'm going to go to the holidays and the seasons. Patriotic would be good for the summer, but we do have this summer category here. And so I can choose from any of these options, maybe the flip-flops, maybe this little cool pineapple guy here. And it's going to ask me if I want to rotate it. I'm just going to say okay, and you can see it switches out that design. Now, this design is ready to go. I actually don't need to do anything else. I can view my instructions and click OK. If you want to change the size, you can do so. So maybe instead of fitting your 5x7 hoop, maybe you want this to fit your 6x10 hoop. And so I click the 10 inches for the width and click apply. Now, when I say 6x10, just make sure that you do understand the size of your hoop. So if your hoop is not 10 full inches, make sure you put in the correct measurement. So, and there we go. We've got a fun, cute little design that is ready to be stitched out, and we've customized it with our saying here. Okay. And you can also watch this stitch out on the screen, slow redraw. It's going to piece. This has a little piece to the left, and then it's going to quilt it, and then it's going to do the design. Now, the advantage of using the wizard for customization is that if I go down here to my sequence view, any in the hoop project must stitch in a particular order, so that before you put your backing on your mug rug, you want to make sure that the design is already stitched. Okay. So the wizard makes sure that when you are customizing, that everything is kept in that order. Okay. If you want to customize the design after it's on the screen, we'll talk a little bit more about that after we answer a few questions. So let's see if we have any questions before we go on to the next part. So I'm just going to kind of back up so I can get to the first question that I see, so we can kind of go in order. And so Marcia says, will the update for Mac automatically delete the translator, or will you need to reinstall any programs we purchased? So you should not have to install any programs that you purchased. It did not delete my translator, if I remember correctly, but it did delete the old version of the embroidery toolshed. Now you have to remember, I usually will do an update or when we're testing, so it may very well remove it right now. But if it doesn't, you would just drag that translator to your trash to get rid of it off of your Mac. So, but I don't think it got rid of my translator, but it did get rid of the old version of the embroidery toolshed, so that I was just left with the icon for the new version. So that's a great question on the Mac, the new native Mac version. So, and then Catherine says, is there a way not to have it separated for I switch between software during one project? So is there a way not to have it separated? I'm not sure I understand that question, Catherine. So maybe clarify for me, because I'm not understand what you're asking. So switching between the software, your features should all be in the embroidery toolshed. So I don't really switch between those software anymore. If you're referring to an outside software or something that's not Dime, maybe that's a different kind of answer. So, and then Dawn Feller says, do you need to purchase the embroidery toolshed in order to use in the Hoop Designer program? No, you do not. So in the Hoop Designer software, you can purchase that one program. And when it installs on your computer, it will automatically install the embroidery toolshed, the parts that it needs, and then all the features from the embroidery from the In the Hoop Designer. So you do not have to purchase anything else. You can just purchase In the Hoop Designer, and it will install what it needs inside of the embroidery toolshed to run. So, and then Sandy says, where can I find all font picks? So fonts that are inside of the In the Hoop Designer, I can open those up to show. I'm not really sure that we have an exact image out there, but I'll show you that when I go back over there, Sandy, as for the fonts that are included in the Hoop Designer. Can I add fonts to the toolshed? So it depends on which one you have and what types of files you're trying to add. So if you purchased designs from a third party and they give you every single letter in every in the alphabet in your file format. You can bring those into Embroidery Toolshed. You can also purchase our font packs, which will add them into Embroidery Toolshed. And you can, if you have a program that has the font editor, you can turn designs that you purchase that are individual files into keyboard fonts. So lots of answers to that question, Sandy. So it depends on which program you have. If you have font editor in Word, Art, and Stitches or PEP, and if you buy the fonts from us, they automatically install into your program. But if you buy them from a third party, then you'll bring them in letter by letter or else use the font editor. So really good question. All right, so I am just scrolling down looking for other questions to see what we've got before we go back. And then Lisa says, I just received a new laptop and I was wondering if and how I can add this and all of my features of Dime I have to it. So I don't have any paperwork though. So what you would do, Lisa, if you go into your computer and choose help and activation, you can actually see your serial numbers that you've used in each of the programs. So I would make note of those if you don't have those serial numbers anymore. And then you can unregister on your old computer, and then that will free up your activation so you can install it on your new computer. You can also contact technical support if you have any issues with that. And you can have it on 2 computers at one time. So if you need your second activation, you will have to contact technical support for that as well. But if you're just moving it from an old one to a new one, I would just do the unregister option in help and activation, and that's going to free up your serial numbers. So what does it mean? What does it mean default? So Dolores, whenever you put a program in default, that just puts the icons of that program up on top of the screen. So if I'm showing someone else how to use this software, I don't put it in default, or I do put it in default because they may have that same icon set up. But when I'm using it just as a user, I usually just leave my Embroidery Toolshed as the default, and then I can access all of the features everywhere else. So Catherine says, into the categories, core quilting specialty features. So into the categories. So nothing has changed with that, Catherine. So your software works exactly the same way. You do not have to flip between the software. The only thing we did over there is just organize them into groups so that it's better, easier to find. So, and that was it. But it does not change how you will use your program, and you do not have to switch between programs. So that is not necessary, and plus it's a lot of work. So nothing has changed with that. So would you need to install the Toolshed before adding this program? So if you install the In the Hoop Designer, it automatically does the Toolshed, so you don't have to do anything separate. So, and then for Sandy, Terry says, doesn't ETS Plus have additional fonts? So yes, ETS Plus does have some built-in fonts as well. So, okay, good question. So I'm going to flip back over. Let's go back to In the Hoop Designer here. And for the fonts that are built in to In the Hoop Designer, if I select one of my fonts, so even after it's on my workspace, if I click one of my font options here, and this is blank because this font actually is not built into the software. If I click this drop down list here, these are the fonts that are built in. So if I switch to one of those, you can see that now these are the built-in fonts into the software. So these fonts you have that you can use to customize your project. So any of these font styles, but even more than the built-in fonts, you have the ability to use your TrueType fonts. TrueType fonts are the fonts that live on your computer that the software automatically converts to satin stitches. So if I go down and just choose one here, like this Cheese Market, that's actually really a cute software. I'm going to change the color because it's really hard to see that black as stitches. So that is one of my TrueType fonts that live on my own personal computer. And I just select that font and it changes it and automatically converts it to embroidery. So I'm just going to select a different one here. And then we can change summer as well if I do my TrueType fonts. And then I can go and select a cursive font from my TrueType list. So fonts that are TrueType are install on your computer. They do not come natively in the program. Okay, so those are fonts that are on your computer that it's pulling from this list, but it's auto converting them to a satin stitch. Okay, that's what's happening. Okay, so now once your design is on the screen, let's say we want to continue to make edits. Maybe we changed our mind. We want to use a different design here, and we've actually already edited the text. So you saw how I did that. I just select it, and then over here in my properties, I can actually change this. So maybe I want to think ahead, and maybe I want to make something for fall instead of summer, because if I don't make it now, I will be behind time. So, so maybe I want to do fall, and maybe I want to put a different design here that is fall. Okay. So here is what I would recommend here. The built-in designs, there are full-size designs, so like around a 3 and a 4 inch, and then these charm designs are miniature designs, which is usually what we're going to use on our In the Hoop projects because they're smaller designs. Okay, so if I select my charm design icon, you can see if I go right back to that summer category, these were the same designs from within the wizard. Okay, so there's my little pineapple, but I've decided to go with something that is maybe fall. So if I want to choose that, and maybe I want this little apple basket here or this harvest basket, I choose that. It puts it on my workspace. I'm going to move it out of the way here. But you can see here, it's at the very end of my stitch order. So I like to tell people, if you're not using the wizard, make sure that you put this in the right order. So I usually leave the previous design there, select my new design, and I can just click and drag and then move it to the right location. And now if I go and delete my pineapple, I know that my basket is going to stitch before the back of my fabric. And now I can move that around. I can resize that. I can rotate it if I want. However you want to edit that design. You can also change colors by selecting the design and using the color chips on your toolbar here. So if I go to maybe something that's darker for the fall, I can add those edits here. So if you are editing it on screen, just make sure you put everything in the right order. And the way that you know that order is you can use the program wizard to select that design and then just move that into the order by clicking and dragging. Okay, so that'll change that stitch order and make sure it's going to stitch in the right area. Okay, and now you can see this is larger than the original one. This is 10 inches wide, so it automatically resized proportionately. And you could make one that is also the original size. So let's put the original size one on the screen as well. So let's keep that same one. I'm going to click OK, and I'm just going to leave Hello Spring so that you can see here that it made a design. Well, I'm trying to select it. Let's do undo here. Let's do that again. I was trying to leave it selected. Open. We'll use our Hello Spring. Okay. And then okay. And then with it all still selected, I'm just going to move it out of the way so you can see that now we've got a smaller version and a larger version here, also with customized text. Okay, so that's the easiest way to get started, is the wizard. Okay, so let's go open up a new workspace and let's just do it again and choose another one. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the wizard and then I'm going to click open. And for this one, let's see what we might want to customize. Here are some cute little tags. Love those. Some coasters. Then we've got coaster satin edged or the turned edge. You've got little hangings, which is a really great thing to customize. I love making these just for your entryway. We've got 6x10 and 8x8. So let's choose this option right here and click OK. And for this one, we've got this little flower design here, and it says welcome, like an entryway. And so maybe you want to change this to hello, or, you know, whatever you want it to say. And then this little area here, before, if we click on library, it opens up our library of designs so that we can bring those designs in and change this out. But let's say you want to use a design from your software or from your another designer that's not inside of your software. If you click the custom option, this will allow you to go to your computer. Now I store all of my designs under the C, Dime, and Designs folder. And then I can locate in my designs something that I want to use that is not built into the software. So I'm going to look here. I've got some of my OESD designs, and then go here. And there were these, whatever design you want to use. I'm going to look for something that's floral. So I'm going to choose the floral bouquets. Let's see what's in here. And I think that's a great one. So I can choose my design, click OK, and it'll add it in the place of my design. So let's just scroll down. I was just going to see how many options we've got here, and then just choose the one I like. So I think I'll go with the original one. So choose that, click OK, and it will resize that and switch that out for me. And maybe now, instead of hello, we want it to say bloom. So there you go. And then when I click OK, it'll add that to my workspace. Okay. So now I've brought in a design that I did not have built into my software by using, let me go back here, by using that custom option. So library or built-in designs, custom allows you to select a design from your computer that's not necessarily built in. Another question we get often about this program is, can I change this quilting in the background? A lot of the designs have quilting if you're using something with batting or quilting foam as well. So if I click on the quilting design, you can see over here in the properties, it comes up, and I can use this drop down list to change to a different quilting motif. I can also change the size. So maybe you like your quilting a little closer together. And because these hearts are kind of directional, the shape tool here will allow me to rotate that shape. So if I just flip that around, I can rotate that shape. Now let me flip my design around here the other direction and flip that around like that. There, whoop, I went too far. And there you go. And so I just need to micro adjust that so that it can be perfectly straight. But if I go too far, it just flips it upside down. So, so if you want to change the quilting, you will select the quilting over in your properties area. It automatically brings up the area that you need to be. So you can just click from the drop down list. Let's choose something a little bit different here. Let's see. The list is so long, it's a lot of times hard to decide which one to use. So I'm going to just choose this one. Click OK. The nice thing is you can audition it. You can see it on screen before you ever even stitch that out. So I'm going to change this quilting pattern length to 40, make it a little bit bigger. And then if I go to that shape tool, we had already adjusted that. So I can actually change the angle by moving that. Or just like it was before, I can put it all the way to where it's straight. Okay, so the shape tool over here on the left helps you change the angle of your quilting. You can change the quilting style in your properties, and then you can also set the size for the pattern length as well. Okay, so in this option, so these are what we call motifs, quilting motifs, but you also have the ability to do stippling if you want. And you can also set the density of the stippling if you like yours to be a little bit further apart. So I'm just going to change that to 10 millimeters, and you can see now I've got a much more open stippling. And there's different types of stippling as well. There's the Hilbert, there's the Maze, and the piano. So you can change to those different types as well. So just play with this. So I always tell people, when you get new software, just click around. You don't have to worry about breaking anything. If you accidentally do something you didn't mean to, just do your undo. Undo is available, and you can see that as I click it, it's literally undoing every single thing that we did. And I can go back all the way to the very beginning if I want to of my design. Okay, so just click the undo as many times as you want if you messed up and you want to get it back. And look at that. That was even all the way back before we put it on the screen. Okay, so really easy, right? Okay, so let's see if we've got any questions over here before we go on to the next part. Just backing up to get back to the beginning. Boom, 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 boom. And then here we go. Kathy says the categories, I like them all in a list. Can I open them up all at once? So you have to click the categories to leave them open. There's not an option that just expands them all at one time. So, but that's a great question, Kathy. I love that. All right. So let's see what else we've got here. So Visionary Creations says, can you have more than one design? So, yes, on the particular project, yes, you can. Some of them have more than one design built in. We'll take a look at that when we go back over there. But if it doesn't, you can just add two. Just make sure they're in the right stitch order, and I'll talk about that when we go back over. So, and then Rachel, how much is Embroidery Tool Shed Plus? So Rachel, check out Embroidery Tool Shed Plus at your local OESD and dime dealer. They'll be able to give you a great price on that. If you don't have one near, you can certainly check out our website for that as well. So, and then Linda says, so the background stitching all will be put around the design on select design you selected, like the basket. So no, the background quilting actually stitches first and then the design stitches, because most of these in the hoop projects, the back is hidden. So you don't have to worry about quilting around the design. So that is not an issue in these instances. So just a thought, Linda, if you do want to put it around a design, there are some steps that you can do to make that happen. So, but not necessary. Is there any way to make lace designs? Yes, we have a program, Patricia, called My Lace Maker. You can make custom freestanding lace designs in that program. There's not a way to make the freestanding lace in the Hoop Designer, but My Lace Maker is the program that you're looking for. So that's a really good question as well. And then Rachel says, so is that the regular price, the difference between the two? So I'm not really sure what you're talking about, Rachel, on the difference between the two. So the price that's listed on our website is the price that we have for the programs. You can also check your local dealer. And so the software I'm using is In the Hoop Designer, and that is a separate purchase from like the other programs like Embroidery Tool Shed Plus or Special Effects, those types of programs. But you do not have to buy any additional program. If you just want In the Hoop Designer, you can have that one by itself. You do not need to purchase anything else from the program. So, okay. So what software am I using? In the Hoop Designer is the software that I'm using today. So really good question. So, and then Terry answered that as well. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. So, and then let's head back. So I think I answered all the questions there. Okay, so now the two design files. So I'm going to go to a new workspace. So I'm going to click the new and click the wizard again. And then let's open up our templates. And you can see here right in this category with the hangings, here is a design that has two designs in it. So if I click this one, or actually it has three, I can change out all three of these designs and the text. So let's go and look for some designs. So you can see that there's a dashed line around the design that I select. Okay, so if I click on these, and when I click the library, it's going to change out that design that I have selected. So let's go to, say, the floral decor. I'm going to choose this option here. And then I've got this cute little tulip design. And now let's just make changes to the other one. So I'm going to choose the sun. Actually, the sun might be good on the tulips. But if I go over to the coconut and I click library, maybe we want something that is more summer or spring looking. A little bumblebee, a little bird might be cute there. Oh, rain is a good one as well. The watering can. The boots, right? The little bunny rabbits, those are all cute. Let's see here what we've got in the summer that might be cute. Maybe the birds. I'm just looking for the right thing. This is exactly how I plan and how I work with my designs. I just scroll through looking for something that just kind of, tickles my fancy, right? So if I go to animals, that little bumblebee is cute. Oh, the butterfly. I think I found the one I wanted. So I'm going to choose the butterfly here and I'm going to click OK. And you can see now we've got the sun, the butterfly, and the flowers. Catching rays, maybe you want it to say something different, or you can leave it exactly where you want. So catching butterflies, catching fun, catching sunshine. So let's just say catching fun. Apply. It changes it, and then I say okay. And then once it's on the workspace, I can still make edits. So say I want my butterfly to change direction, so I can use my tools up here for alignment and mirror. I can move this around. So once it's on the screen, you can continue to make edits as well. And so maybe we don't want this to have any text. You can delete the text. I'm just pressing the delete on my keyboard. I could just have this one big design, just like that. Okay. So it can be anything that you want it to be. You can customize it right here in the software. Now, right now, I have just one design on this particular hanging. So let's bring in another design. So remember, you can use the built-in designs. Those are the charm designs or the regular size designs. Or if you want to bring in a design you already own, you would go to File and Merge to bring that design on the screen. I'm just going to use one of the built-in charm designs here. And let's just go back to the spring and maybe choose the sun or the rain or the umbrella, whatever you want. So I'm going to do the sun here. And I can move that. So you can change this to be 2 designs, even though it started with 3. I just deleted and removed. Now, the most important thing is to make sure it stitches in the right order. So you can see here in my sequence view, this is the last thing that stitches. So I need to move it up here so it stitches with this design. So I'm just going to click, hold, and drag. And then I can drop it either before or right on top of that, and it'll have that stitch in the right order. So now whenever we stitch this, both of these designs are going to stitch before we put the backing on. So hopefully that helps with the 2 design selections. And so let's see what else we've got here before we answer more questions. So I deleted my text, but if I want to add text back, I can have my text tool and select that, click that on the screen and enter my text. I am not very creative today, so it's the same words over and over and over, but you guys get the idea, right? And so there's my text. And if I click over here for my text tool, I can change to different font types if I want, and I can resize that text and put that into position. And let's move our little flowers down here. So, whoops, I've got my text tool selected. So go back to select your flowers. I can move it up and I can even resize it if I need to, if I want to make it a smidge smaller with my little sun there. And if I don't like, I really don't love the face on the sun, I can even edit that. So right now that's all grouped together. So if I choose my select tool, I'm going to click my ungroup option. It's still in the right order, and I just don't want my sun to have a face. I think that that's a really cute sun when it's got the face, and that's not the look I was going for. So I can remove those, and then now I've got my design looking like I want. So if I want to change the color, I can select any part, right mouse click on the color to make that change. Okay. Now our text, we added the text after we were already on the screen. So remember, you need to make sure it's in the right order. So because we want this to stitch the same time our design stitches, I'm going to do the same thing. So let's do it together again. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag my text object, and then I can just drop it. And when I release my mouse, it'll put it right after the object that I release it on top of. So now it's going to stitch in the right order. So for this particular design, you're going to get a placement stitch and a tack down for your batting and your fabric. Then it's going to do the quilting. Then it's going to stitch our designs, our text, and our 2 designs. And then it's going to do the tack down for our little hanger. And then the last stitch is to put the back on and leave an opening. Okay. So yes, you can have those two designs and you can add text after it. The other options here as well are being able to add fabric to see what it's going to look like. So whenever you select, say your placement stitch, I can click the fabric icon, and any of the built-in fabrics that you might have, you can actually play with. In this fabric category, everybody has these to play with. So you can choose a fabric to see what it's going to look like. And that conflicts with my little sun there, but I could certainly change my sun to maybe an orange color or change my fabric. So it's great to audition. And also wow, I got too much orange going on there, or yellow, because also my vase there is also yellow. So maybe we want to try a different fabric. So I'm going to select that placement stitch, click my fabric option. And so maybe we want to do something that's a light blue like the sky. And then I can change my text color here to something different so that it'll show up better. Okay, so you can audition fabric in there with this option here. And then in a couple of weeks when we're back, we're going to go into more advanced options that you can use, things that you can do with the software, like creating your own shapes. And we'll also be talking about zipper bags as well. Okay, so I know that's a lot for today, but I just wanted to get you guys started with the easiest way to use your In the Hoop Designer. So let's answer questions before we sign off. So please show the design bags with the ready. Okay, so please show how to design bags with those ready zip designs. So I will show that next time. So those zipper designs, those are so that you can make custom shapes. You can use the wizard with the built-in zippers, zipper bags already in. But in 2 weeks, I'll be back here and I will show how to create custom zipper bags with those built-in zipper parts. Okay, so you'll join me in 2 weeks and you'll be able to see how to do that. So just looking to see if yes. So Terry said, does the In the Hoop Designer also quilt the back of the bags? So if you want to quilt the back of the bag, you can create that separately. To quilt the back of the bag in the hoop, that's a separate hooping. So if you want to do that, then yes, you absolutely can. And actually it looks like Reen just put the instructions for doing that right under Terry's question. So thank you, Reen. That was, I appreciate you answering that. So can you only import true type into the designer? What about my quilt embellisher? Could you show that again? So the true type fonts, those are built into your computer. All you do is choose your text tool and there's a little TT over to the side that you would check. So right here where my cursor is blinking, and when you put a check mark there, it switches to your true type font list, and then you can choose that and it will automatically change it. So my quilt embellisher, I don't remember if it has true type fonts or not. Just look over here and you'll know. So look for that TT. Off the top of my head, I don't remember if you can use true type fonts in my quilt embellisher. I kind of think not. I don't remember that one. So, okay. And then Linda says, can you import designs from another designer in the program? Yes, you can. I mentioned that just a few minutes ago, Linda. So you can certainly back up and watch the replay, but you'll go to File and Merge, or if you're in the wizard, then you're going to use this custom option for importing the design. So either way, we'll get designs from other designers into the software. So great question. Let's see what else we got here. So is this already in ETS or it's a separate program? It's a separate program called In the Hoop Designer, Rachel. Really good question there as well. So separate program, In the Hoop Designer. And then Donna says, once you deleted and you changed your mind, can you undelete? Yes, use the undo button. That is at the top arrow here, that undo. You can undo and get that design back. So my ETS icon is just a blank sheet after the upgrade. Does the In the Hoop have its own font collection? So when you update your software, usually it will remove the the ETS icon from, or it'll actually leave it there, but it does look like a piece of paper in your toolbar. But you should have one on your desktop that you can then drag down below. If that doesn't work, Gail, then certainly you know how to reach me or either technical support. But the one that's on your toolbar at the very bottom of the screen, that one usually turns to the piece of paper. But then the one that it puts after the install on your desktop, you would then be able to drag that to your taskbar. So really good question there. Let's see what other questions here. I'm just looking. I'm looking for those question marks. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we do that, I think Gail had a second part to her question. Is In the Hoop have its own font collection? It has fonts. They are some of the fonts that are similar in other R software. It's not a unique font collection. So great question. Is it a right or a left click to move things in the sequence view to change the stitch order? So Trishanda, great question. If I ever say click, I'm referring to left. If I say right mouse click, then that's how I'll designate between the two. So if it's just a regular click, I mean left mouse click. So in your sequence view, you will click with your left mouse button, hold, drag, and then release that click. So let's see what else we got here. Can you have different quilting stitch behind the object? Yes, we already talked about that, Connie. If you came in late, you certainly can back up, but you just select it and then go in your properties and change it. So great question. Then can you add your own fabrics? Yes, you can, Sheila. So you can even go to your favorite designer's website and download their little image files, their little thumbnails, and then you can add those to the software as well. So, and then BJ says, can you color sort the text flower and the sun? Yes, you do have the ability, I think, to color sort. Let me look up here and see. Actually, it's not built into In the Hoop Designer. So, but yes, you can manually drag those things around. But the one click option is not in the Hoop Designer. So good question, BJ. So, but you can click and drag just like we moved the things around. So can you sort the color? Okay, I just answered that one. Good question. Just trying to make sure everybody is covered. And then Marcia says, would you suggest In the Hoop for making quilts or clothes labels? So you can use, In the Hoop Designer would be great for that. So making quilt labels, because you could use one of the built-in designs, like say a mug rug, and put your label information down and just remove the quilting. I wouldn't put any quilting on my particular label, but you certainly could. So just resize the mug rug down and putting your text in there would be a great use for that. So love that idea. All right. And so I think that we've answered most. Linda Johnson says, next session, can you review how to add your own fabric samples? I sure can, Linda. I'm going to write that down as soon as we're done. And so next, and that brings me, that's a great segue. Thank you for that, Linda. And so I'm going to head over back to my PowerPoint here. And so I will be back here for another Software Success on June the 17th at 1 p.m. Central. So same time, same place. And we're going to continue with In the Hoop Designer, but this time I'm going to do more advanced things. So I'll show you how to manipulate the zipper bags and how to create your own zipper bag shape if you want something that is not built into the software. And then we'll also talk about using the built-in shapes that are frames to make In the Hoop projects for those as well. So if you want to take it to the next level, then we're going to see some more of those things on June 17th. So we'll do some more of the advanced things on June 17th. So I'll definitely, at Linda's request, I can show you how to add fabric. I'm going to show you how to use the built-in zipper parts, and then we'll just do some more advanced steps as well. So we'll talk about erasing, using the eraser tool and creating an opening for turning, things like that. So, okay, so join me on June 17th, 1 p.m. Central for the next Software Success, and we'll do more on In the Hoop Designer. If you don't have In the Hoop Designer and you do want to purchase it, you can first and foremost check out your local dealer. Go to your local or your favorite dealer. Maybe it's not local, but maybe it's your favorite brick and mortar dealer, and ask them about In the Hoop Designer software, and they'll be able to get that for you if they are a Dime and an OESD dealer. If you do not have a local dealer, you certainly can check out our website and make that purchase. And then it is a download program that you'll get right to your email. So hopefully that helps. So, okay. So I think that's all I have for the day. Thank you all for being here. I so enjoy showing you all about software. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation and are enjoying your In the Hoop Designer software program. So until next time, I'll say bye for now. Thank you all for being here.